Hey guys, what's up? Unrested back, and today we're gonna start that little bit of, I guess, Eastern philosophy as we talked about, how to approach life with a more Eastern philosophical view that delves into a bit of Buddhism, Shintoism, Taoism, Zen, Wa, harmony, a little bit of everything, okay? Um, One other thing I want to mention in this video, if you stay all the way till the end, is if you're interested in taking Japanese lessons. I've recently had a school start very close to me. It's a small school, it's a personal school, and you can take the lessons online. I'm not getting any kind of sponsorship or kickback. I met the owner, and I like to try and help out other small businesses in my area, and so this is somebody I just want to try and help out. Let's jump into it. What we're going to be talking about today with Eastern philosophy is how to approach a sort of harmony or Wa, or very efficient and harmonious way of delving into the new year and all those new goals that you're setting. New Year's resolutions are something everybody in America likes to do. And I would say in Japan, it's not that different in the sense that, no, there is not New Year's resolutions, quote unquote, but the fiscal year starts in very end of February. So we're getting into almost the same time where everybody starts a new school, a new hobby, sometimes a new career. Usually first year college students start right now. So we're getting into firsts and a lot of new experiences for people here. And this is where they kind of take some of the same advice. And this is just kind of the mellowed out way I've learned to approach delving into a new hobby, new experience, new job atmosphere, new workplace, anything you want to tackle. This is going to be a very general overview with rules that you could probably apply to anything you're going to start doing. Oftentimes you're going to hear me reference things like art, because my two hobbies are artwork and YouTube. If I reference a job, I'm gonna reference, obviously, using my own English school. That's just because these are the experiences I know the best. I'm not suggesting you need to also follow the same suggestions. I'm hoping you can apply these examples to whatever skill or motivational aspect of your life you wanna pursue, okay? And like I said, it's just going to be with an Eastern spin. Take whatever lessons from this you want, leave whatever ones you don't. None of these need to apply. All these can be applied. A little bit of everything. It's just a quick delve into it to give you an overview. You know, take away from that what you want. That's really the first step of any philosophy within Eastern philosophy, is take away what you want and what you think will help you the most. You know, nothing should be forced upon anybody. Nothing should be proselytized. So the first and number one thing that you should do when you approach anything new is warn yourself and warn others about what your physical and mental limitations are with whatever you're going to pursue. So where I've seen this apply in my own field is there's times I try to delve into certain aspects of YouTube that I myself could not handle, either because my life was just too busy. I couldn't do all these different types of videos, travel around constantly, take pictures everywhere, ignore my kids on a trip and just film the whole trip instead of actually having fun with my kids. Now I've found a much better balance of that. But where I've actually seen some people completely suffer from not tuning into this is, I'm really big into true crime, and I've seen people pursue hobbies into investigating true crime, and some channels on YouTube have actually ended because the person did not realize they were not mentally ready to go through one after another true crime story. If, for example, you know the true crime story of Junko, and I believe the movie slash documentary around it called Concrete. If you ever looked into that true crime, yeah, you may not ever want to touch the subject again. It's pretty brutal. So make sure what you're going into is something that you can mentally and physically handle, not just with your schedule and your lifestyle, but also up here too. Okay? Keep relationships organic, all right? When I say keep them organic, this is a very modern day aspect to this. That means if you're going to have friends or colleagues or peers within whatever you pursue, maybe you go to the gym and work out with people, maybe you are part of some sort of nutritional club, anything, all right? Make sure the people that you are taking and giving advice to and with, the closest people that you want to be with and listen to are those you see in real life. IRL. That's what I mean when I say organic, okay? Yes, it's okay to receive tips and tricks and shortcuts and, different things like that on the internet. But most times I think definitely something I've seen more and more as I delve deeper into a life of making online entertainment is that who you think you know online are not people you fully know. That even goes for me. And does anybody fully know me just from watching my videos? No, and I don't expect you to think you do, or I don't expect that I know you guys just from reading comments. Obviously, you are far more complex and deeper people than what you leave in the comments. Same thing goes for like tics and trips and all kinds of even insults that you get. One thing I really want to point to is if you're pursuing something passionately and you get any kind of really negative kicks towards you, don't look at as you not succeeding in what you're doing. Look at it as maybe this person has something troubling them in their own life that has made them lash out at you for pursuing something they wish they could pursue. Heck, I get that with my own channel. I get, even just recently, this is a great example. I had one guy from another channel mention that I look like old and ugly and unhealthy, and sure, maybe I do. What's that got to do with me living in Japan? I went and checked who had made this comment because I thought whoa, did I do something to make this person super angry? For the most part, I get really nice comments, but the meanest ones speak the loudest. So you gotta be like, whoa, who's this? What is this person so angry about? I checked and they had video after video about how much they love Japan. And this is kind of something our kind of channels attract as people who live in Japan, is we get a lot of these people who they've always wanted to go to Japan. They've never gotten everything together to go to Japan, and they're angry at us for already being there. Do I blame them for that? No. Obviously, something very frustrating is going on in their life that is stopping them from getting over here. And it's something I don't have a full concept of. Is it, a past criminal record? Is it a disability that makes it very difficult due to the fact that they need some kind of medication? These are very personal and very esoteric aspects of people's journey to Japan. And I may have absolutely nothing to do with that, but that doesn't mean them seeing another person do what they want to do doesn't frustrate them. And for that, I can really only feel sympathy. If it were up to me, of course, I'd try to help every single person possible get to Japan. Would that leave time for my own life in Japan? No, it wouldn't. So, that's beyond feasible. But instead of getting angry at these, I try to see what their situation is so I can understand it better. And if there is a point where I can come and be like, look, I can see why you're frustrated. Have you tried doing this or this? Then maybe we can reach some kind of happy middle. And instead of them being angry at what they see, they can be happy that what they saw helped them. Think about that. But don't let it get to you. I'm not going to stop making videos because somebody calls me fat, ugly, and old on the internet. Okay, yeah, I get it. I'm fat, ugly, and old. Sure, whatever. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Don't try to turn whatever if you're going into a new hobby or a skill, I guess this really only should be allocated to these two situations. If you're going into a new hobby or a skill, don't try to make it a career right away, okay? If you've gotten really hyped on something, like maybe you just got into drawing, maybe you just got into sewing, maybe you just got into drawing your own manga or something like that, don't immediately think about, how can I make this a career? I bet I could make money doing this. Just think about enjoying it. Your best work for whatever you do or whatever you pursue is going to come out of you enjoying it first. If profit follows later, that's great. That's amazing. That is so incredible that you could turn that in. But even in my own past life, I love drawing. I still love drawing to this day. Yes, I did make money doing it for a little while, but eventually the market that I drew for crashed. I couldn't make enough to make a living on it, so I had to go back to teaching English. It did work out in the end that for a while I could stop teaching for a while and do art, but be ready to also put that pencil down for a bit and get back into real life. Don't let your hobby override all the most important aspects of your life to the point that you lose track of what you're pursuing in real life. Make sure your creativity doesn't take a backseat to money, and make sure your passion always comes first. I always feel like when it comes to anything creative, if passion comes first, your best creativity comes out of that. I don't ever see as money as the best route of creativity. I mean, look at Hollywood, how much crap comes out of there because money is their only end goal. Okay. Be ready to say sorry that you will make mistakes. That's kind of a weird sentence, Scott. I think you could have had better grammar. See, I was just sorry to myself for making a mistake. In Japan, this more so follows with the whole kohai senpai situation, where you should be ready to apologize to your senpai right away and just admit defeat. You're not going to be perfect from day one, and if you're able to shut up for a second and just say, yeah, I really screwed this up, and listen to your senpai tell you about, like, look, I've been doing this for years. This is the way you're supposed to do it. They're not doing that because they're trying to talk down to you. They're not trying to do that so they can be like, I'm so much better than you. I'm the best. They're doing that because they want to humble you before you get a big head. If you try to start with having a big head in any sort of new hobby or skill, or even athletics for that matter, you're gonna make a fool of yourself unless you have some sort of innate natural talent that no one's ever seen before. And if that's the case, you probably don't need a senpai to begin with, right? Be ready to just know you're gonna make mistakes and say sorry about it. One thing I have really started to notice, and I don't want to say it's a generational thing, I want to just say maybe it's a time-learned tradition that I've started to see more and more on the internet, is people refusing to say, sorry, I screwed up. I totally messed this situation up. I messed up what I did. It wasn't very good. It was a bad video. It was a bad drawing. It was a bad take. I said the wrong thing. I spoke too soon. I made a judgment too soon. I've done that in videos before. I have had to come back and say sorry. You're not going to be perfect, and even when you've sometimes done a skill for a very long time, you're still going to screw up. I've had times where, I got a commission for a piece of artwork and I made it and the person did not like it and I had to make it again. I'm not going to tell the client, hey, I'm the best ever. If you don't like it, that's on you. Give me my money, because then I'll never get a client again. Let's see. Okay, realize your time is limited, okay? This actually has two faces to it. I would say realize your time is limited to what you can do with your hobby. So know that if you're going to get very, very serious about something, what do they say? It's something like 10,000 hours makes you a pro at something, or 3 solid years of study. That's great, but don't expect that you're going to become perfect at it in 3 years. Realize that if you're going to make that 10,000 hours happen, you're obviously going to need to parse it through your day and time and week. And also, don't get aggravated by that. Know that if there's days where you can only do 15 minutes of what you want to learn or get better at, the fact that you did that shows dedication, all right? The fact that you did not ignore it. This kind of gets into some negatives too, though, I will say, because there are days where I've gotten so into a hobby that I feel anxiety for not practicing the hobby. And I guess that's something I'll get into a little bit later. I have at the very end here a list of positives and negatives, and one of the negatives is kind of the anxiety that can follow you around when you pursue a new hobby. So we'll talk about that later. Be wary of cancel culture. It might cancel you. With everything you do, there is some sort of aspect of cancel culture in it. Someone may cancel you for the way you handle something, for the way you approach a skill, for the work you've done with that skill, with the creativity that you've made with that skill, for pushing the envelope sometimes in those, or for even they don't agree with the way you've approached whatever it is you do. And this can be in anything, man. I see this fight with vegans. I see this fight with artists. I see this fight with YouTubers. I see this fight with artists drawing all different types of manga and cartoons and everything. They yell at each other for all different types of styles, or copying another person's style, or this vegan says, no, you couldn't eat this and this is a bad source, or, you guys have seen it too. It's all over communities of all different types. Try to stay out of these. try your best to stay out of these. Don't try to join any kind of cancel bandwagon. If you really, really think something is horrible, or you've seen something horrible or some sort of abuse happen, if you are close friends with the person to whom it happened to, and they need someone to be there for them, do that. That's okay. You can be a support. If someone just dealt with an abuse in an industry, don't go out of your way to try and cancel the person who did the abuse. Take care of the person who was abused first. That person's time will come. Karma will come for that person. You joining a bandwagon without a full story about what happened may end up getting you canceled later, okay? For example, maybe it turns out the allegations were fake. Maybe it turns out that the abuse wasn't as bad as they said, or maybe the abuse was something that's industry regular, like they got fired because they brought something negative to the workplace that made it very inefficient. Okay, if someone brings a negative attitude every day and then they say they abused me for my depression, and then you find out, well, there's being depressed and then not getting any help, and then coming to work and making everybody feel down and yelling at everyone and abusing them with verbal slander to the point that you get fired, and then there's just abuse because of your mental illness. There's very different sides to every story. Unless there is like serious police allegations or police arrests involved, I would say there's no point in joining any bandwagon until you find the full story. Yes, go support the person if the person is a friend that was, the abused, the victim. That's okay. I'm not saying ignore the victim too, okay? But just be very, very wary of joining the bandwagon for cancel culture, because one day cancel culture may come for you. I remember the reaction channels. Everybody wanted to cancel them a long time ago. And when people would ask me my opinion, I'd say, no, I don't think we should cancel any type of channel that doesn't, it's not hurting anybody. It's not abusing anybody's rights. It's not taking away anybody's liberties. I don't think we should cancel them, because even if you don't agree with them watching other people's videos and commenting on them, at what point might they come for what you do? At what point might they be like, well, I don't think this American should talk about Japanese people. He's not Japanese. Let's cancel him. You might be the next person on the line to get shot. So be wary. And plus, things are being unrightfully canceled, if you stand by them or just ignore the cancel culture, they might be there to help you later if someone's trying to do the same thing to you. They might be like, oh, I've been in that position and you didn't join that bandwagon, so now I'm going to be on your side. So be very careful about those. Don't be so hasty to make your cancel culture become your new personality, okay? Before showing or exhibiting or uploading your best work ever, like you have just finished a piece or some kind of work, or finished some kind of workout, or some kind of new best, a new time, a new set, a new video, a new recording, a new song, it's your best. You're like, oh my God, this is by far the best thing I have ever done. Realize it will never be your best, and sometimes it might even be your worst. Yes, this is crazy. I know you're like, wait, but if I feel like I put a lot of passion in it, Scott, you just said, that's where your best stuff's going to come out of. So if I did that and they tell me it's my worst, then everything you've said is a lie. Well, no, not quite. What you might personally think is your best may not be the same to everybody else. And the funny thing is that the opposite is true too, which balances everything out. Something that you make or upload or create or set might be to you, you might be like, this is kind of just so-so. This is medium level. This is amateur stuff. And then you put it out there, show it to your audience, finish a piece of work, show it to your friends, and they're like, wow, this is the best. This is amazing. This is great. Oh my God. Like, you'd be like, wait, what? But what? What's happened there is, no matter what, subconsciously, you've been working within your passion the whole time. What pops out of that and what you like is not going to be the same thing the audience likes. As long as you're consistent with your passion in that skill that you're pursuing, good stuff will eventually come out of it. It will pop out of it. it may not be the same as what you thought, because you yourself have a very different view of your own work. And that's really an ineffable experience that you can only realize until you've delved deep into any sort of hobby or skill for, I would say, a good 3 to 5 years. Afterwards, you'll come back to this video and understand, like, Scott, you were right. My best was never my best. My worst was sometimes my best. And sometimes my best was my worst. Okay, I hope I made sense with that one. I might have been all over the place. I really don't know. Okay, positives. All right, I'm just going to go through to end this video up. We're 20 minutes in, it's pretty deep. Positives and negatives. The positives are any kind of skill you can pursue is very cathartic. This is probably the most Zen aspect of what I've talked about today with Eastern philosophy. If you can tune out the world for just a little bit to focus on a hobby, that is very, very healthy, okay? If you can reach that perfect flow with whatever you're doing, where you're not constantly worried about the things going on around you, you're not worried about the future, you can put aside your troubles for a bit, that gives your mind a very cathartic rest. It's actually very healing for your soul and your mind, okay? Whatever, your spirit, whatever, cosmic entity you imagine exists inside of you. Finding like minds. When you find people who see your skills, your projects, your hobbies the same way as you, you can find some very good lifetime friends. Some of the best friends I've ever had do come from YouTube, of course, or just even people watching my YouTube, or people who enjoy Japan, who want to talk about it, people who are into artwork, people who are into video games. I've made very long-term friendships within those different communities just because we have a shared interest and we are like minds. And I feel like that is the best place sometimes to find your best lifetime friends. The negatives. Don't push out IRL people. Yes, I said it's great to hone in and zone in on that skill and get cathartic with how it lets you push all your troubles aside, but don't do it to the point that you start ignoring people in real life, okay? That's great for maybe, whatever time you have set aside for the day, but if you're doing that for a whole day, a whole week, and you tap back into reality and realize you've ignored friends and family, that's also unhealthy. That's an unhealthy balance. One of the key phrases of Buddhism is temperance, even in temperance, which means be balanced even with how balanced you balance things, if that makes sense. Balance in everything, okay? Try to balance, everything out. It's healthy even with things you are very, very passionate about. One way I'll say that Japan still really fails at this aspect is with work. Japan is still a society that overworks itself to the nth degree and has no work-life balance. So, although they preach it and they teach it, they don't do it. So, say what you will about that. Negatives, continued, and anxiety. This is the one I said I would talk about later. Anxiety, yeah. So if you get really deep into a skill, it becomes part of your life. It becomes part of who you are, your ethos, your pathos, your way of living. Every day you wake up and you're excited to do that skill. There will be days where you don't want to do that skill. This can be anything. Like I remember this with skateboarding, where I loved skateboarding, but there's some days I woke up, I was super tired. I didn't want to go out there and bust my butt on a skateboard. This was probably like high school age or college age. And if I didn't skateboard for 2 to 3 days, I noticed I would start to lose skills very quickly. Same thing goes with everything else that you pursue. You'll have to warm back up for quite a long time to get back to where you were if you're not pursuing daily. And this can cause some anxiety. I would say you need to have a schedule that can help you not feel this anxiety. If you know there is a day where you're going to be so busy that you're really not going to feel like doing that skill, that's the day where you say, I'm going to just do it for 15 minutes today. Because at least I can say there's not been a day where I haven't done this, I haven't worked on this, I haven't gotten better. Or maybe you're the type of person you're like, I can take a weekend off from this and come right back to it. I'm exactly where I was. I can pick right back up. Some people are like that. They can, close a book to whatever they're doing in their life and open that book right back up to the same page and pick it right back up. I'm kind of that way with my own English teaching here at my own school because I very much have my own very personalized schedule and routine. If I'm working at another school though, I definitely need to write a schedule for myself because I have to follow their routine and their way of teaching. So it's very different. I think that covers all of it. Let me grab this real quick. I hope that helped for today. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to comment below. If you disagree with me on anything, that's fine. You know, I'm always open up for creating an excellent dialogue. And actually, I very much so welcome people disagreeing because I find sometimes that's where you can find ways of thinking about stuff that you didn't even consider within your own video. I'm gonna plug this real quick. If you wanna end the video now, it's okay, but if you are interested in getting some Japanese lessons, there is a new school that just opened right next to me. It's like literally down the street. It's called Kotoba House. Kotoba, K-O-T-A-B-A in Romaji, okay? House, all right? You can find that as a website on the internet. I believe, if I am correct, it is kotobahouse.com, but I'm most 100% sure that if you type Kotoba House into Google, you will be able to find it. And again, like I said, I know some of you are gonna be like, Scott, I'm not coming to Japan. Coronavirus still won't let me come there. Why are you telling me about this? I can't take Japanese classes in Japan from a Japanese person. Yeah, but you're wrong. You can take Japanese classes from a Japanese person at your house in America or England or Australia or New Zealand or wherever you're watching my video from. Canada people too, you know. People ask me about this all the time. I want to learn Japanese. Scott, will you teach me Japanese? No, I'm not a native speaker. Your Japanese would be as bad as mine if I taught you. That's a bad idea. Learn from a native speaker. This lady, Chihiro is her name. Very nice. Owner of the school, pleasant teacher, very, very cheap lessons. She works, this poor girl, she works 11 a.m. till 9 p.m. and she does online lessons via, you can do Skype, Zoom, however you want to connect with her. I'm sure she'll find a way to connect through any application you want. You can have a private lesson, a group lesson, or you can do free talk. She's got all those. So some of you are like, you know, I don't want to just learn basic grammar stuff and a bunch of vocab. I just want to learn how to do conversational Japanese. Well, she's got that. She's got free talk. Her lessons are about 50 minutes long. One private lesson is about 25 bucks. You know, this is give or take a little bit depending on the exchange rate. It's Nisengo Yen in Japanese, which, I mean, that's, you know, I don't know what that's going to be in America right now as I'm making this video. Sorry. That'd be about $25 these days. If you want to do a group lesson with 4 people, 8,000. That's crazy cheap because that's only 20 bucks per person. Let me tell you, you're not going to find a cheaper price, okay? And then free talk is $15. That's it, $15. It's a one-time deal. You can get your free talk in, see how your Japanese is, get kind of a checkup. Probably Chihiro will make some suggestions to be like, I think you're great at this and this, but maybe you need to improve your skills in this and this. Your bunpo's not so good, your hatson's not so good, your tango's not so good. Maybe brush up on some of those, okay? Or maybe you just want to do the kanji. She also has cultural classes that she's been doing, but she can't do them anymore because nobody can come to Japan. So yes, I have seen classes where she's teaching things like shogi or kanji. So if you want to learn those too, I'm sure Chihiro would be more than happy to talk to you about any of those. She speaks English, yes, and she speaks English well enough that you can ask her any question at the beginning of your class. You can be the most basic beginner saying stuff like "Watashi wa Scotto desu" to, I don't know, speaking full eulogies in Japanese. If that's you, I kind of wonder why you need lessons. But check it out, guys. You know, give this girl a chance. If she's willing to work this many hours and do online classes, then you could probably catch her almost any time of the day. This would most likely be mostly nighttime hours for you, so you could come home after work and take these lessons. There might be some of you who are like night owls who could do it. And like I said, she's probably more than willing to do Zoom, Skype, Line, Facebook video. What are kids using these days? I don't know. I'm a boomer. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I hope that helped today. Tell me what your thoughts were on covering some Eastern philosophy in today's video. Until next time, I'm Unrested. I will talk to you again soon. Stay healthy. Stay safe.